First Hawaiian's economic advisor, Dr. Leroy Laney, will now focus on the Maui and the state situation. This past summer, Leroy spent a week on our island gathering information for this forecast. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Leroy Laney.
Well, thank you very much. And I'd like to personally welcome all of you here to this 36th Maui County Business Outlook Forum. First, I'll talk about tourism because that's so important here. Maui's tourism recovery in 2010 easily leads the rest of the state, and as I mentioned earlier, that is the positive bottom line. Both visitor arrivals and visitor spending are well ahead of other islands. March and May of this year have shown particularly impressive gains. Added flights from Hawaiian and Alaska Airlines, as well as two Canadian carriers, WestJet and Air Canada, are helping this year. Maui sources this year reported travelers are still a little cautious despite the gains that you see in the numbers. But if potential travelers do a little research on packages, they can get some very good deals. Visitors are still searching for value. Regarding trends in visitors, honeymoons are up even if weddings on island are falling, and it was reported that family business has been strong. I think two important components of the Hawaii economy have to return to health before a sustained recovery emerges. One of them is tourism, or what we sell to the rest of the world. And the other is construction, which is a crucial sector for any regional economy. As for tourism, we're already seeing some signs of recovery. The statewide construction picture still has a while to go. Now then, construction is an important component of the economic cycle just because of its volatility, and that's true as well as elsewhere. And as I mentioned earlier, Maui does lag in this sector. Private permits were down almost 50% in the first quarter of 2010 over the same quarter a year earlier, and that was on top of a 33% decline in the first quarter of 2009. Likewise, the second quarter decline of over 30% after double that decline in the previous year. Some in the industry still cite Maui's 50% affordable housing requirement for new residential development, and of course we're all aware of the Show Me the Water ordinance requiring a water meter permit before building can begin, and I still hear comments about that. Nonetheless, there is some construction activity that is worth mentioning. At Maui Lani, some commercial work as well as residential activity is ongoing. Site work for a 100,000 square foot building for Paradise Beverage has started. At Professional Roll, there's another 61,000 square feet of commercial space in 7 different buildings for sale now. And as well, a 24,000 square foot Latter-day Saints church is coming this year. And then 3 completed water wells there will help with the permitting process. Alexander and Baldwin always plays an important development role on Maui, and I always call on them. As A&B looks ahead over the next several years, several projects are anticipated that they mentioned this year. To summarize the major ones, Maui Business Park Phase 2 is already fully entitled a light industrial area in Kahului with 2 parcels on either side of Hana Highway. That project anticipates the start of construction activity in early 2011, perhaps with completion in late 2012. Kahului Town Center is a mixed-use project designed to reinvigorate Kahului on the site of the old Kahului Shopping Center that was destroyed by fire several years ago. That will call for 125,000 square feet of retail space, 70,000 square feet of new office space, and about 400 residences. Connie Street Condos also is another mixed-use component that's now in the permit process. And then in Wailea, A&B's 2 most eminent projects are at MF7, that's 75 fee-simple luxury condo units, and then also MF10, as well as a mixed-use project with commercial space, condo units, and single-family residential lots. So we can look forward to that in the next several years. Maui real estate is always an important sector, and like elsewhere, sales are up big time. Greater affordability with declining prices and record low mortgage rates are a big help, and of course the tax incentives that have moved demand forward, even if it is only temporary, might be reflected in some of the numbers that you see here on the screen. As you can see in the slide, median prices are still falling, but at a lower rate than last year. We can't ignore the big 2010 decline in condo prices. That can be traced to the higher-end Hanuakai development that came online early last year, and that makes this year's prices look far lower, so that's sort of a distortion. And a lot of these numbers, as we know, at the county level in real estate can be distorted by the mix of properties that are on the market at any given time compared to a year earlier, so you have to take some of these numbers with a grain of salt. I paid a call, as I often do, on Maui Economic Development Board in Kihei. There's a lot going on there in the area of education development this year. For example, there's an ongoing professional development program for teachers in the areas of science and technology and math. They've also ramped up their renewable energy curriculum in the last year. They've already trained 100 teachers statewide in this area, and they continue to sponsor the AMOS, or the Advanced Maui Optical and Space Surveillance Technologies Conference, which is something that they've done for the last several years. At Maui Community College, paid a call on them this year. There was a groundbreaking for a $25 million science building this summer, a new $1.2 million Hawaiian Study Center that should be complete this fall, a $5 million electrical replacement system that should be complete soon, and a $500,000 redesign of the old science building that's planned to house the nursing and dental programs. Maui Community College had the highest enrollment increase in the UH system last year at about 25%. This year's enrollment increase, and it will increase, could break into the double digits. Enrollment there now exceeds 4,000 students, and it reports an estimated $7.8 million in external grants this fiscal year. So you've got a healthy community college. I always pay a call on AC&S, the state's lone remaining sugar plantation. This slide that you see on the screen makes the picture look rather grim there, but better news is on the way, I'm told. The operation estimates that in 2010, total production could exceed 170,000 tons. That may be a little bit less than they would like, which could be in the neighborhood of about 200,000 tons, but it's far better than 2009's 127,000 tons. A big reason for the higher production and yield is getting more age on the crop with a delay in harvesting. This June, HC&S got a repeal, perhaps not a victory, but a repeal when the State Commission on Water Resource Management ordered 12.5 million gallons of water per day to discontinue being diverted from West Maui streams for HC&S use. Now, any reduction in water used for sugar hurts, especially in these days of drought. It could have been worse, however. Shutdown of HC&S would be something of a disaster, putting about 800 direct employees out of work and having other negative effects on the Maui economy, and among them is just a serious blow to the physical appearance of the Valley Isle. Another venerable Maui agricultural operation, I paid a call on Maui Land and Pine this year. Of course, as many of you know, they've undergone a major reorganization over the last year, leasing out 7 of its product lines and selling an 8th. And that makes the operation a landlord. It's not really operation-based anymore. It's gone from about 680 employees down to around 200, and most of those are in golf and retail. Pineapple took the biggest hit. A new operator on the pineapple side is Haile Maile Pineapple, which will concentrate on the niche product market and aimed mostly at the local market. Well, I'd better wrap up now. But barring any unforeseen misfortunes, an economic recovery is now underway, or at least imminent, for the Maui economy. Do not expect a rapid snapback. Remember, an economic recovery begins when positive growth resumes after a recession, but it doesn't end until the previous peak is reached. And the 2006-2007 peaks for a number of important economic numbers won't be reached for some time. However, as I mentioned earlier, at least the direction is right. Led by the economic mainstay of tourism, nothing's going to change in that regard for some time. Maui can look forward to better times in the future. Much greater uncertainty would have been attached to a statement like that a year ago, when I stood before you.